How did you make your first million?
YouTube.
YouTube. What's the most amount of money you made in a single year?
This year, I think we'll do 3.5 or 4.
What's the best financial decision you've ever made?
The best financial decision that I ever made was being poor when I grew up. Show the TV for a second. We're all literally living on this tiny spinning rock in an infinite universe. And you're worried about what someone's gonna say to you in the YouTube comments trying to make a life for yourself.
Excuse me, sir, quick question. How did you make your first million?
Who says I made $1 million?
I don't know, you look pretty successful, nice car. Dress
YouTube.
nice?
YouTube. Yeah, it's a long story.
What's the most amount of money you made in a single year?
This year, I think we'll do 3.5 or 4.
3.5 million?
Yeah.
Wow, and how old were you when you became a millionaire?
I was 23.
How old are you now?
I am 26 currently.
26?
Yeah.
All right, well, I spend the day with the most successful people. I was wondering if I could spend the day with you.
Of course, bro. I'm about to go get kind of a strange procedure if you want to come.
Strange?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. Strange procedure, but where are we, bro?
We are at the Q Institute. Shout out to Mr. Mark Zuck. Shout out to everybody on the amazing team. And I'm here to get something called ozone therapy.
It's going to be extracorporeal blood oxygenation and ozonation. It's going to be a closed loop system. So he's going to have an IV on either side, on either arm. Blood's going to be coming out, going through our EBOO machine over here. It's going to go through a filtration system. Ozone gas is going to be implemented in there with some oxygen, and then LED and UV lights prior to getting pushed back into his body. This whole process is a detox.
So basically, you pull the blood out of my body, put oxygen in it, filter it, and then put it back in.
And how's he gonna feel after?
Yeah.
He can be a little tired throughout the procedure, but after that, an energy boost is what we're looking for.
Okay.
You said you made your first million from YouTube, right?
That's correct, yeah.
How did that work? How did that happen?
Dude, so the a little bit elongated version of it is in late 2021, I got really heavily back into the world of crypto trading, a lot of sort of niche sectors of that market. And I was working a sales job at the time, making like $40K a year. And I ran up about 50,000 on a MetaMask wallet. And at the time, I was like, dude, I'm rich. Yeah. I was like, dude, I'm rich forever, right? And in January of 2023, I decided to start documenting that journey and posting on YouTube. And I posted my first real YouTube video on January maybe 6th or 7th, the first weekend of January 2023. And what followed that was the craziest 3 weeks of my life. A second video I ever posted blew up. I started exploding on Twitter, started blowing up on YouTube. And in January of 2023, January 21st, I created the business that I still run today. So I quit my job and started a paid Discord community where a bunch of people trade together and talk about crypto and the markets. And
you were able to use the momentum from YouTube to then funnel in traffic to your Discord.
Of course, and just creating a community where I shared what I had learned and brought together like-minded people to do the same. And off the back of that and the markets continuing to perform really well, I made my first $1 million online shortly thereafter. I want to say by the end of March 2023.
What makes a successful Discord community?
That's a great question, man. The thing is, when I launched mine, it was not like this big sort of commoditized business model that has been popularized by platforms like WAP, right? Like it was a very niche thing. So there's a million ways to skin the cat. At the end of the day, as long as your number one priority is not just providing value, but exceeding expectations of anybody who joins your community, I think you're going to be successful, right? Like you create a community about how to trade Pokemon cards and make money. Like there's people interested in everything, you know?
How did you learn how to build a Discord? How did you even get this idea?
Dude, I raw dogged it solo. I don't know. Like I'm just an internet kid. So I don't know. I watched a few YouTube videos. I figured it out, just played around with settings. Like one of the biggest lessons I've had in my life thus far is that like nothing is nearly as complex or as challenging or as daunting as it seems if you just start, you know?
Just taking that first step, not being afraid to fail.
Absolutely. And that applies to everything in life, you know?
No, what kept you going? What kept you motivated?
My number one priority in life is not material items. It's not, supercars. It's absolute freedom for myself and everybody that I love, right? And success to me is making sure that nobody in my direct family system ever has to work again. So I sat down, wrote out the numbers that would require, did a little bit of napkin math, and I realized, wow, fuck, this is really expensive. And I was like, wow, fuck, I'm never gonna get here with this job that I have. And then I was like, wow, fuck, even if I made 10x the money that I'm making right now, I'm still never gonna get there until I'm 100 years old. Dude, it's like I made my first $1 million and I felt, the brokest I had ever ever been, because I was like, dude, I have so far to go. So I wake up every day right now and I feel exactly the same as I felt when I was working that sales job, because I'm so far from this sort of like penultimate goal that I have, you know? The day that I launched our community, I was still, working my job. And I tweeted out the landing page to buy annual passes for this thing while I was muted on a sales call at my job with the account executive that I worked under. Yeah. And I literally tweeted it and then had to go back to this Zoom call. It was a 45-minute call, and when I got off, we had sold out. And I was like, well, I should probably quit this job. Yeah. So I quit on Monday. But yeah, dude, the first morning that I woke up jobless, first I was like, oh, this is fucking amazing, right? And then I was like, oh, holy shit. I was like, it's really all on me now, right? Like, there's no guarantees, there's no salary, there's no nothing. So it's crazy.
What do you think is the fastest way for someone in 2025 to make their first million?
I unironically think that if you're starting from zero, the fastest way to start making tens of thousands of dollars per month is to have one thing or one skill that you're specifically interested in, which, like I said earlier, it can basically be anything, right? You can be into real estate, you can be into crypto, you can be into dropshipping, you can be into
blood transfusions,
you can be into trading cards. Two, to start a YouTube channel with the objective of reaching a niche audience. You don't have to be getting hundreds of thousands or millions of views. You can be getting thousands of views, right? Third, create a simple high-ticket product that you can sell to teach people about what your YouTube videos are based around, right? And that might sound daunting. A lot of people are gonna be like, oh, I'm supposed to charge somebody thousands of dollars to talk to me? But yes, like, truthfully, you'd be surprised how much people would pay to learn about effectively any niche subject, right? Especially if it's something that can make them money. Fourth, create a very simple Typeform application. Signing up for Typeform costs like $20 a month, where people can apply to work with you, be consistent posting on YouTube, get your videos to 500 to 2,500 views, which is not hard if you understand a little bit about the platform, and start selling a coaching offer online. And you can film these videos on a MacBook camera, sharing your screen with OBS, which is a free program. Like, I truthfully, like, if you took everything away from me that I had right now, that is exactly what I would do. And I guarantee you I'd be making more than $50,000 a month in the first 90 days. Like, it's just what would happen.
Why do you think so many people still just don't do it?
Fear. And a lot of people don't want to put their face online. And I get it, because like, you look at the highest level celebrities, and like, we got Justin Bieber crashing out right now about paparazzi following them everywhere, right? First of all, the odds that you get to that level where you can't go in public are basically fucking zero. It's only if you walk around in Brickell that it's a problem. And two, bro, if that's the price that you have to pay in order to impact thousands or millions of people and also make life-changing money, like, fucking boo-hoo. You know what I mean? So be it.
So basically, having a personal brand is the most important thing and the fastest way to get rich in 2025, correct?
A good YouTube video is a multi-million-dollar asset, and people don't understand that.
What makes a good YouTube video? If you had to boil it down to three things.
The first two things that matter the most on YouTube are what's called CTR, or click-through rate, and AVD, or average view duration. So effectively, what percentage of people that are recommended your video online click on it when they see it, so having an attractive title and a thumbnail, and then how long do they watch your video, i.e., does that video align with and exceed the expectations that you set out for them with that title and thumbnail? And by the way, somebody that is ex-Mr. Beast organization posted an amazing, like, 25-page manifesto on all this. So you can go download and read for free. It's super easy to find on Twitter. And then following that, the third thing that I would say to prioritize is, while working within the sort of bounds and conventional knowledge of YouTube, being yourself and leading into your unique strengths, right? Like that Monaco video you were about to put on, it was in many ways counter to everything that I had learned about YouTube, but I had developed the skills and the understanding of how to create a good hook, how to capture attention, and then worked into that things that are unique to me, right? And if you do those three things, like, you will win, right? 100%.
What's your first step, and like, how am I going to craft this YouTube video? What's the story I'm going to tell? Talk me through your process.
The most important part of a YouTube video is the first 30 seconds, obviously. So I'm really hook-centric, and as a matter of fact, like, I have pages and pages of notes documents on my phone where I'll just have ideas pop in my head, like, I could start a video like this, I could start a video like this, and I just write them down. So I build up sort of this catalog of, like, ideas to peruse through for whenever I'm making new videos. But outside of that, my attention then shifts towards, like, okay, I need a really good hook for this video. Okay, I want to get into value as fast as possible. So, like, you see kids on YouTube with these, like, 4 or 5 minute intros that are just self-serving, where they're talking about how they do all this and that. It's like, no, dude, like, you hook somebody in, you tell them exactly what you're about to deliver them, you exceed their expectations. So if the title told them you were going to teach them 10 things about how to buy your first home, as soon as they click on it, you reveal to them that you're actually teaching them 20, right? And then, bro, you get right the fuck into it with disregard for anything other than making sure that you over-deliver on the promise that you made in the first 30 seconds of that video. You learn how to correctly CTA or create calls to action for an offer or a coaching offer or a business if you have one. And you can effectively read just .com Secrets by Russell Brunson and know exactly how to write effective marketing copywriting. It's not that hard. You read that book in like a day. You weave those into the video and you be consistent. You post every single week, and when your first 10 videos do shitty, you don't complain about it. You just post the 11th, and eventually you hit.
How many YouTube videos did you have to post until you had that one hit?
Well, dude, I'm sort of like a. That's like survivorship bias. I'm like a little bit of an outlier in that it only took me a few videos. But the truth is, I had been creating home videos and random ass bullshit content since I was 10 years old.
Me too.
So, you know, you could say like 1,000 videos, bro. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter. Like, your first priority should just be get shots on goal. Yeah. Even if it's embarrassing, you think it's a piece of shit, right? You'll look back on that one day and it'll be a fond memory. Yeah. People are so scared. Like, for what, dude? We're all... Show the TV for a second. We're all literally living on this tiny spinning rock in an infinite universe. And your lifetime, your entire family's lifetime, and the 10 generations that will remember you and then remember each other will all die, and it will comprise not even a whisper or a blink in this Earth's history. And you're fucking worried about what someone's gonna say to you in the YouTube comments, trying to make a life for yourself. Like, what the fuck are we doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's the best piece of business advice you've ever received?
Yeah, just start. Because I know the reason why most of you haven't started is because you're afraid of what the people around you are going to think, either your classmates or your coworkers or your family, and how they're going to judge you. But the truth is, one, they can't stop you. Two, whenever you inevitably have success, they're going to call you and they're going to congratulate you anyway. They're going to lie to you and tell you that they always knew you could do it when they were actively plotting on your downfall. And the only reason why they are doing that, by the way, is because watching you try reminds them of all the dreams that they have that they're too scared to follow. So literally start today, right? Like, stop making excuses. Understand that fear that you have is trying to appease people who don't even want you to be successful anyway. So, like, why would you let their opinions impact your actions, right? Like, just start. That's truthfully the best advice I could give anybody.
So how do you feel, bro? How's your blood? How's everything?
Dude, I feel superhuman. I feel like Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I feel like Iron Man, bro.
Yeah. What do you think are the skills you have that have made you so successful?
I would honestly say the number one skill, it's not even a skill, it's just like persistence and just never fucking quitting. There are a lot of people that are more talented than me, that are probably more intelligent than me, that are better at almost everything in the world than me, other than just not fucking quitting.
Have you always been that way, like throughout your whole life, or no?
No.
When you were at your sales job?
Bro, it was really only once I went to college and got a job and realized, like, wow, this life sucks. I cannot do this. I got a fire lit under me. Yeah. I would also say, though, like, hard skills wise, things that have made me a lot of money and helped me out a lot are understanding copywriting, like, because that plays into, or rather just how to speak persuasively, right? So because that plays into YouTube, that plays into all content, that plays into sales, right? Which is an extremely, almost the same skill, right? That I find very, very important as well. Something that I think really serves me is just being extroverted, right? So especially in our line of business, right? You can call me and I've never met you before, and it's like,
here we are, we're chilling.
You know, and I've known you forever. So yeah, man, understanding how to speak persuasively and being really fucking determined will get you a long way in life.
Can you give me a little mini masterclass on how to speak persuasively?
Dude, I think that the most important part is learning to tell stories, to your earlier point, right? There's a reason why Jesus so often spoke in parables, right? Because it's a lot easier to get somebody to understand your message and believe in what you're saying if you convey it to them in a story. And the great Russell Brunson taught me that in .com Secrets, which is a book that has probably made me more money than any other book I ever read, and you can read it in like a day. So that's a little recommendation to anyone.
What's the story of today then? How would you package this?
If I were making a video about today for my own channel or my own YouTube, I would try and package it around what's called a hero's journey, which means that there needs to be emotion involved, and we need to go up and down. We need to face an obstacle and overcome it, right? So if I were to sort of retell this story in what I would try and make the most compelling way possible, I would probably add a little bit of pizzazz about perhaps we met up and then, I don't know, maybe the car broke down on the way to the first interview, or there was some other sort of obstacle that we had to face.
PPT didn't have the Patek in stock.
Yeah. Or I'd figure it out later. We go there and like, oh, they don't have the watch, and then somehow, miraculously, we find the right one, right? So I would incorporate emotion and make sure that, like, I think a big mistake that people make, especially when they're creating content or even vlogs, is they just like, here's what happened, then here's what happened, then here's what happened, the end. Right? And you have to appeal to people's emotions in order to really capture attention, you know?
I like that. What's the biggest financial mistake you've ever made?
I bought a Tesla Model X Plaid so I could depreciate the whole thing. I paid like $130,000, and then Elon slashed price on those by $10K a month for the following year. I think you can get a 2025 brand fucking new for like $80,000 now. I can't even sell that anyway, because if I did, I'd have to also pay back the IRS an additional like $60,000. So that was not my best choice, but it's a fun car to drive. I probably should have just got a supercar instead. I probably would have actually lost less fucking money. So that was not the most intelligent thing that I ever did.
What about what's the best financial decision you've ever made?
Dude, the best financial decision that I ever made was being poor when I grew up. Because that taught me the importance of money, and that's the reason why whenever I made my first $1 million or my first $2 or $3 million, I was always inclined to take that cash, turn around and dump it into assets, because I'm really aware of the finite nature of money. Like, I've seen people make money and lose it all growing up, right? Like, I was never broke, right? Like, food was never an issue. We didn't have some crazy house. My mom and dad bought the house that I grew up in for like $105,000 on a 30-year mortgage right after I was born. That was just the same house that I just paid off for my dad in that video that I posted the other day. And I couldn't believe how long they had that mortgage and how much of it was still left. Anyway, 30-year mortgages are fucking crazy. But I mean, I know what it's like to grow up in a house that has multiple kids and is making sub $50,000 or $40,000 a year, right? My mom was putting herself through medical school when I was a kid too. My parents separated when I was little, so there's a lot of turbulence. But I'm grateful for it because it gave me a respect for money, and had I come up in money, I probably would have been a fucking asshole and just spent all of it like crazy. You know?
Do you have any tips for cold outreach, like sliding into people's DMs for business?
100%, bro, because I get a lot of DMs, and I also have a strong opinion about this because the only one job that I ever actually did have, I was an SDR for a big enterprise grade company, which meant that I sent literally thousands of emails, cold outreach a day, and I cold called between 100 and 250 people every single day. So this was literally my job. And I get a ton of terrible cold outreach on Instagram, and I try to never talk about this publicly because I never want to like shit on any kids that are out here trying. You know what I mean? Like, at least they're in the field trying. But dude, the amount of DMs that I get that are clear copy and paste scripts that are not customized. Like, the very first thing that I learned whenever I was a BDR at a big company was like, the more you customize messaging and the more personalized it is, the more likely somebody is to respond. So for example, my main business is running a paid community based off of organic traffic that comes from my YouTube channel. I get at least one DM a day that is like, hey, what if I could build you a paid community that makes you $10,000 a month? Did you even look at my profile before messaging me, right? So what I was saying before we started recording this is the only type of messages that I would say I very reliably actually read, watch, and respond to are if somebody sends me an iPhone video that I know that they recorded directly for me. If I open it up and it's a guy that is like, hey, champ, and I can immediately tell they actually know who I am and they're interested in working with me, like, that's somebody that I'm going to, like, I respect the hustle, you know what I mean? And odds are they probably aren't going to solve an actual issue that I have, because I've been doing this for a bit and I have a lot of smart people around me, but maybe they are, bro. I've literally hired people from cold outreach before, but you just gotta, like, bro, like, I don't know if all these kids are taking the same course. Who created the course that told people to DM everybody on this planet, are you doing anything with email right now? I'm not saying it's a bad script, but I've just gotten it so many times, bro. If anybody messages me, are you doing anything with email right now? Blocked, bro. It's over. Y'all gotta change up that curriculum.
Yeah.
Come across now. 39mm rose gold skeleton. Very, very rare to come across now.
Oh yeah, it's massive, bro. It's so big on me. I just want to give a super, super sincere thank you to everybody at home in their fossils, Tissot, and G-Shocks that told me I was poor for buying a Rolex, because you bullied me into getting my first skeleton AP, and I couldn't be happier, bro. And we go RM next.
And that's why they're haters for a reason.
Bro, I wouldn't have bought this watch without them.
100%. So this side always goes first, not the one with the AP. Because you don't want to scratch that.
Yeah, I know. Never had one before, bro.
Let me just see real quick.
Wow. First AP.
You're gonna need like